Hi all, today we'll discuss about object-oriented programming interview question. So what all are OOPS related interview questions? So the interviewer will ask like what is object-oriented programming? Why we are using OOPS concept? What all are those features in OOPS concept? So see here, these all are the OOPS interview. OOPS means object-oriented programming. So the first question interviewer will ask, what do you understand about OOPS? Can you explain when to use OOPS concept? Have you used any OOPS concept? Where to use OOPS concepts and all? The second question is, name any 7 widely used OOPS language. What all are OOPS language? They are using object oriented based. So Python is the OOPS based. Java, Go, Dart, C++, C Sharp, Ruby and all. Now the next question is, what is the purpose of OOPS concept? Why we are using? So OOPS concept is mostly used for the inheritance, hiding, polymorphism in a programming. So it's a API. Now the next question is, what all are the 4 main features in OOPS? So in the 4 main features of OOPS is inheritance, encapsulation, polymorphism, data abstractions and all. So this is all the main 4 features in the OOPS: encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism and all. The next question is, why OOPS is so popular? There are multiple scenarios. So these all are the 4 part which have abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, make it easy programming to solve complex scenarios and all. So that's why OOPS is very popular and all. The next question is, what all are the advantage and disadvantage of OOPS? There are multiple advantages while we are going for the OOPS, and some disadvantage also there. So these all are the advantage and disadvantage for the OOPS concept. Now the next question is, what are the limitation of OOPS? Some limitations are there. So these all are the limitations. While we go for the OOPS concept, we will have some limitations which need to be followed. Now the next question is, what are the difference between object oriented programming and structured programming? So some difference is there in a structural programming and object oriented programming. So these all are the different which have. Now the next question is, what do you understand by pure object oriented programming language? Why Java is not pure object oriented programming language? Because of this reason, object is not pure object oriented programming language. So how we will create Java is a pure object oriented programming. So this is the technique way which we have to create. Now the next question is, what do you understand by class and object? Also give some examples. What is class, what is object, when to use a class, when to create objects and all. So this is examples of card is a class, in that property and methods are there. And while we create a Audi, BMWs and all, so these all are the object. Here we have also property and methods will be there. So the difference of the class and object, these all are the real difference which is required in the class and object. What is class and how we will use class, what is object, how we will use objects and all. So this is the difference. The interviewer will ask what is the difference between class and object. So this will be the same answer. Now the next question is, what is the difference between class and structures? What is class, what is structures, when to use class, when to use structures, why we are using structures, why we use class. Now the next question is, what is the concept of accessifier, when to use these? So there are public, private, protected, defaults and all are the accessifier. When to use, so these all are the difference, like within the class, in derived class, outside the class, package, sub package and all, how we will use that. Now the next question is, what is manipulator in OOPS and how it work? Now the next question is, what all are rule for creating a constructor? So what is constructor and what is the rule to create a constructor, when to use constructor, and then The next question is what is the difference between constructor and method? When to use constructor, when to use method? And the next question is how does procedural programming be different from OOPS? We have a procedural oriented programming and other is object oriented programming. What is the difference between both? The next question is what are the difference between error and exception? When to use error, when to use exception, how to handle error, what are the examples where we use array and exception, error and exceptions. The next question is what are the characteristic in abstract class? Why we are using abstract class? What is abstract class? How we will create a abstract class? When to use abstract class and all. Now the next question is it possible for a class to inherit the constructor of its base class? The next question is identify which OOPS concept should be used in the following scenario. The scenario is a group of 5 person friend. One boy never give any contribution when the group goes for the outing. Suddenly a beautiful girl join in the same group. The boy who never contribute is now spending lot of money in this for this group. So what is the OOPS concept we will use here? So it's a runtime polymorphism we will use. So this type of scenarios based questions they will ask so that interviewer will try to check your OOPS concept and all. Now the question is what is composition? When to use composition? When to go for inheritance? What is the difference between composition and inheritance? Composition and inheritance. There are some benefits of compositions, so for that purpose we will use a composition. The next question is what are the differences between copy constructor and assignment operator? So these all are the copy constructor and assignment operator. What is the difference between copy constructor and assignment operator? Now the next question is what is the difference between composition and inheritance? Composition and inheritance. So this is the main difference of composition and inheritance. Inheritance will follow is a relationship, but composition will have as a relationship. Now the next question is what is constructor chaining? When to use constructor chaining? Next question is what are the limitation of inheritance? When to use inheritance? What all are the limitations of inheritance? So these all are the questions for the object oriented programming OOPS concept. Now the next question is what is the difference between inheritance and polymorphism? When to go for the inheritance, when to go for the polymorphism? So these all are the specific differences there. Now the next question is what is coupling in OOPS and why it is helpful? So what is type coupling? What is loose coupling? So coupling is the two type. One is the loose coupling, another is tight coupling. The next question is name of the operator that can't be overloaded. A scope resolution operator, ternary operator, member access and dot operator, pointer to the member operators, dot star, size of operators. Now the next question, what is the difference between new and override? When to go for the new, when to go for the override and all. The next question is explain overloading and overriding examples. When to go for the overloading, when to go for the overriding, what is polymorphism, what is compile time polymorphism, what is runtime polymorphism, what is a static binding, what is dynamic binding and all. So overloading can say compile time, overriding can say runtime. Now the next question is what is cohesion in OOPS? So these all are the OOPS concept related for the cohesion, when to use cohesion and all. So we have a coupling and cohesion, when to use coupling, when to use cohesion. There are two type of cohesion, high cohesion, low cohesion and all. Now the next question is, give a real world example of polymorphism. So when to use polymorphism, real world examples where you used or implement in your project. So the person have employee role, father's role, husband's role, and same persons poses different behavior in different situation. It is called polymorphism. One name into different form. What is the difference between, the next question is, what is the difference between a base class and a super class? When to go for the base class, when to create a super class. The next question is, what is a data abstraction and how can we achieve data abstraction? So we have abstract class, we have abstract methods and all. So how can we achieve the data abstraction? The next question is, what are the level of data abstraction? So there are three level of data abstraction. One is the physical layer, logical layer, and view layer. The next question is, what are the type of variables in OOPS concept? There are three type of variable in OOPS concept: local variable, instance variable, and class variable. When to use class variable, what to use static variable, when to use local variable, when to use referenced variable. What all are those and how we will use that? The next question is it possible to overload a constructor? If yes, yeah. The next question is, can we overload the main method in Java also? Given example. Yes. The next question is, consider the following scenario. If a class demo has a static block and main method, a print statement is printed in both. The question is, which one first execute, a static block or main method, and why? What is the difference? It's a very important question is there. So how it will be printed, if first one will be printed or second, whatever. So these all are the common object oriented programming related interview question. We can say OOPS related interview question, which will be considered for the freshers and experience both. Thank you.